Alright, patch 5.0.3 came out, and it's actually probably the largest hotfix or tiny patch or whatever you want to call it that I've seen. This is pretty huge. And before we get to Altharion, while he charges up, you hear that? You hear that? You hear that? You don't hear shit! You don't hear shit! I got a new mouse! I got a quiet mouse for when I'm making videos. Listen real hard. You can't hear it. You can't hear nothing! No more mouse clicks for you in the videos. Take that. Take that. Better video quality for you. Anyway, let's get on with it. Eltharion, his Mistwalker's Barrage got a change, whereas the last patch it got more little arrows. This patch, it got them to spread further, which in campaign, if you're like super hard blobbing, that might be okay. But for multiplayer, it essentially just makes Mistwalker's Barrage bad again. The only reason it was good is you pay a tiny amount of gold to do constant crowd clearing damage to heavy cav or infantry that would surround Eltharion. Now there's just no point again, so rest in peace. For our next change, CA went after the Thunder Barge, man. They lowered its armor, lowered its HP, increased the damage threefold that Thunderburner does. Sphere of Grugny's still really good. But Thunderburner now does a lot more damage per second. You can see it's meaningfully ticking down my Thunder Barge's HP. They lowered its melee defense. I don't really know how much that matters, because still seems to just truck on everything that it tries to attack it in the sky. But also, it got its hitbox fixed. So now the balloon counts as a target that is actually hittable. And with the lower armor, I think things even like Skaven Slave Slingers could do okay damage. But this should all make the Thunder Barge a lot more vulnerable. The damage as it goes in, Rattling Guns are going to line up soon here as I stop and wait for them to figure it out. You can see much more of the missiles are hitting now. A couple of them still go through the balloon here and there, but overall it's still a pretty insane amount of damage. And the Thunder Barge will go down quite quickly. Rip. Some spells got nerfs too. To start off with the Fate of Buna. Fate of Buna got a decreased duration, so that means it has 2 seconds less of the damage it's dealing, which from 20 seconds to 18 seconds, that's about a 10% damage nerf for Fate of Buna. Now I did test on some Jezzails. Old Fate of Buna could straight up kill a unit of Jezzails. Let's see how this does. In comes Fate of Buna. And it shatters them. Doesn't kill them, but it does shatter them. So, I mean, you know, 10% damage nerf for Fate of Buna. Pretty good. While we load in here, also, Soul Stealer. Shut up, Mother Ostankia. I hate it. I hate it so much. Because so many of the new characters have these speeches that just interrupt me. And if you pause it, the speech also pauses. So she's just going to talk no matter what. Anyway, what I was trying to say is Soul Stealer got a little Winds of Magic increase, which is good. I mean, it's a very powerful spell. For the Dark Elves, they always take it, so... I mean, it's a good nerf. It's fine. But I didn't want to do a whole replay of it, just being like, Soul Stealer got 2 more Winds of Magic.
I will teach them well.
Shut up! Okay. Frostworm's moving up. Frostworm's got smaller models, which will make them tankier because less stuff can surround them at once. And they did also get bonus versus large added to them, 25 bonus versus large, which ain't bad. So now they should be tankier in melee with cavalry or infantry. They should do better in monster duels. They're still at a really high price point. I don't think they're going to be common in multiplayer, but I do think that these changes, they're fine for campaign. Just makes them a little more useful. You see this one's beating up on Storm Vermin. Okay. This one is losing a 2v1 to the Warlord and the Mutant Rat Ogre, and it's really not dealing that much damage back, so it looks like even with these buffs, they're not very good melee duelists. So they'll probably be more useful against armored infantry, maybe Cav. With the bonus versus large, I could also see them doing fine versus Cav, but yeah, you can cycle charge infantry with them and stuff. Now with the Warlord going away, the Mutant Rat Ogre is trading about 1-for-1 with the Frostworm. But still gonna win. Even without the Warlord, it's still winning. But I mean, you know, buffs for one of the worst, actually, literally the worst unit in the game, buffs are good. So nice, solid changes, like it. Elspeth's Dragon got a bit of a nerf. It took about 25 to 30% damage off of her Coruscating Blast. Breath attack. That previously it half health Zarina on her Frostworm with the homing missile. Now it's like a quarter. I think that's partially due to the Frostworm's smaller model, maybe not taking as much damage, but still, I mean, good nerf for the laser breath. It's still very good. It's the best breath attack in the game. So before people get all on my shit, like, it didn't need a nerf, it was fun as it was. It's still the best in the game. It's just a little less ridiculous so your opponent has more counterplay, or in campaign, it's still the best in the game. So, I mean, still great. Last changes. Damn it! Okay, last change, probably the most significant, is all 4 Furies got big buffs. They got leadership buffs, they got model count buffs, and they got mass buffs. So triple buffs for the Furies, trying to make them useful, as I cut off Valkia's speech. And now they can, Khorne's Furies, which are some of the better Furies, to be fair, but they can kind of dumpster Croman, which is nice, as Croman were the epitome of sky monstrous infantry. Now again, this is Khorne's Furies, which have Frenzy, and they're better stat-wise than some of the other ones. Nurgles are tankier, Zinjas have barriers, and Slanishes have armor piercing. So they all have different little things, but yeah. Fury's feeling pretty good. Now they won't Demonic Instability crumble at the drop of a hat, which is nice. You can see these ones are going to end up at half HP, and not even close to crumbling, which previously, like, you think I'm joking, because what did they get? They got a 20 morale increase, right? So these guys would be sitting at around 5. So, pretty significant buffs for the Furies. Gives all the demonic rosters viable flying options instead of, like, Fury, because you have to take flying options of some kind, but it just felt bad. Now it'll actually feel like a positive. Alright, what else? For the Beastman, Traderkin got damage nerf. I think it lost like 30% damage. Empire's Hawkland Long Rifles got 50 gold cost increase because they were overperforming, and their Null and Ironsides got, I believe, 75 gold cost decrease to make them a little more tempting to take. I still think even at that price point they're bad, but it is better. Gyrocopters and Gyrobombers got damage buffs. We'll see if that makes them viable, but in testing they still were pretty underwhelming. Zarina Katarin's Ice Court Sled got rid of the bug where she would hit you while she's running away. But that's not the case anymore, so she functions like every other routing unit in the whole game. And Dwellers of Below got reverted back to being a single vortex that does 4 damage per second instead of being 50 small vortexes that do 1 damage per second, because their damage was crazy strong, and it came with a lot of bugs about like stacking speed debuffs and stuff, so it got reverted. Kept the visual update, but not the effect.
Roar. Subscribe, yes.